I was in the Dominican Republic, and the biggest topic down there was Joel Embiid and the 76ers keep winning. Now, there's a big group that we had met from Toronto, and they played the Raptors on Wednesday night. And we met a bunch of guys and their wives and stuff at the pool. They were talking about the Raptors. We said, the Sixers are playing the Raptors tonight. I said, we'll watch the game. I'll have my phone. We'll all get around and watch the game. And these guys in Toronto were just marveling, like, that Joel Embiid was just like that. The point is, the Sixers were a topic of conversation in another country, and it wasn't for their futility.
And did you sling it from your phone to like another TV, or did you all gather around?
No, it was just around my
little
TV.
Device,
just around the phone. Sports Bash Live, Bob Cooney from the Daily News. There's some news on Joel Embiid, so we'll get the latest from Bob Cooney. And are the Sixers, should we start taking them more serious, Bob? You've seen a lot of bad basketball, but none of it in 2017, really. It's been a lot of good, but what is the latest on Joel Embiid for this week? I'm going to the game tomorrow night. Doesn't look like I'm going to be so lucky, eh?
Well, wait a minute. Before we get into this, Mike, you're in the Dominican Republic. The Dominican Republic.
Yeah.
Beautiful weather. And you're sitting around on a Friday night watching a Sixers game on your phone. What the hell is wrong with you?
It was at night. We're at the bar. I mean, everybody was kind of...
Exactly, it was at night. That's exactly what you shouldn't be doing.
Hey,
you're in the Dominican Republic.
You know what? The
I've
group
been there. It's beautiful.
I was there with 30 people, and a vast majority were asking, what are the Sixers doing? I said, I can pull it up on my phone if you want. And here we are watching the stream live.
Yeah, you need a new group of friends, buddy.
All right. Well, I'll take that under some strong consideration.
You will not be so fortunate as to see Joel Embiid tomorrow night. They're gonna sit him for precautionary measures. That spill that he took Friday night, where his knee hyperextended, it's pretty gruesome to look at. So the fact that he came out of it with no structural damage is great news for him, for the team, for fans. So they're just going to be a little bit cautious and keep him out tomorrow night. They're calling it a knee contusion. So he'll sit tomorrow night. He wasn't planned to fly to Milwaukee the next day because it would have been back-to-back. Even though he's not playing, he's still going to just keep going with that. So he won't play Tuesday. He won't play Wednesday. And the hope and what they say is they're hoping to have him back Friday, and I don't see any reason why he wouldn't be. He got on the court after shoot-around this morning just by himself in a pair of moccasins and a pair of sweatpants and was just shooting up and laughing and all. So he's fine. I think everything will be a go for Friday night.
Right. So I was going to say, was he at practice doing anything today, or did he seem like he was limping or hobbled? You're saying he was at least out, up and about and seemed like he was in good spirits.
No, he's fine. He didn't practice. He didn't do anything with the team today. Friday night we were in the locker room after the game. Once all the media talked to him and kind of cleared out a little bit, I just talked to him one-on-one, and I said to him, did you see the replay of it, or did you see how your leg bent? And he said, no. And I said, that's not the way a leg is supposed to bend. And he looked at me and he laughed and he said, yeah, but I'm flexible. So, he thinks it's just another funny thing about Joel Embiid, and then today gets named Eastern Conference Player of the Week, not Rookie of the Week, but Player of the Week. So that's another nice little honor bestowed upon him today. So the progression keeps going, and they're going to continue to take it easy with him with his injuries.
Yeah, Bob, they've won 8 out of 11, and a lot of that is because of his play, but there's more than just him, right? What are some of the other things that have helped kind of propel them to this streak where all of a sudden, they're within striking distance where before it seemed like, okay, Joel, playoffs, haha. Now you can almost keep your eye on it.
Almost. Yeah, almost. I think a lot of the stuff that's happened, it kind of centers around Joel Embiid, maybe not specifically him, but I think their defense has been playing really, really well. I think their perimeter defense is doing a great job. You're T.J. McConnell, Robert Covington, and then off the bench, Gerald Henderson and such. Those guys are doing a really good job defensively out on the perimeter because they know they can get out on shooters without having to worry about getting beat off the dribble to the basket because simply Embiid is back there to protect the rim. So I think their perimeter defense has been a lot better. Their pace has been very good. T.J. McConnell's playing well. They're rebounding the basketball. Now they can get out on the break and they can run, which is something that they wanted to do. And they're getting good individual play. You know, I already mentioned T.J. McConnell. Robert Covington, yeah, you talked about it, him being booed and cheered or whatever. Whatever he's doing, he's playing really good defense, and this team needed good perimeter defense. And now Brett Brown also has a second unit, which is a very nice second unit to go to when it's headed by Nerlens Noel and Gerald Henderson, like I said. So that gives you a nice defensive presence. And then you have Dario Saric, and things are just kind of coming together with a shortened bench, and they're playing well right now with each other.
You're going to see Okafor tomorrow night, most likely, probable. He had his own knee issues there as well. And Noel, and I guess this Okafor thing, until they make a big picture decision, you're only going to see him when Joel does not play. Is that what he's resigned to?
That's what it seems like for now. That definitely seems what they're going with for now. So you're going to see quite a bit of him coming up. I mean, before this weekend or something, 5 of the Sixers' next 12 games were back-to-backs. So you weren't going to see Noel for 5 of 12, or I'm sorry, Embiid for 5 of 12 games. Now he's missing another one due to this knee contusion. So he's going to miss half of the upcoming 12 games. And then, to finish out the season going forward, there's some more back-to-backs. You could have some more of these, little nagging injuries that might occur. So, that's why I look at playoffs and I kind of put that on the back burner, because you just don't know how much you're going to have Embiid. And, so for the foreseeable future, you're going to see quite a bit of Jahlil Okafor.
Speaking of Okafor, as we talk with Bob Cooney, Bob, you spoke to former Sixers guard Evan Turner. What did you learn from him about the Okafor-Noel dynamic?
Yeah, it's funny. Evan and I, when he was here, we got to be pretty close, and he was upset when he was here. He didn't think he was being used right. He probably started to doubt his talents a little bit, being he was a second overall pick, and he was mostly relegated as a bench player or was going in that direction when he was here. And then when he left, he became just that, a bench player on a couple of pretty good teams, on Indiana and on Boston. And he and I talked on the phone one afternoon, and it just clicked with him. And this was a couple of years ago. He called me, we were just talking, and it just clicked in his head. He said, you know what, I'm just going to be the best role player I can be, and whatever that leads to, it'll lead to. But no matter what, I just have to keep moving forward and put my head down and play. And it was a really mature, Evan's 28 now, so he might have been 25, 26 at the time. And it was really enlightening that he got over that and realized it. And I talked to him about Embiid about Noel and Okafor, and he just said the same thing. It's just a maturity thing. Once they can figure it out that, being a role player right now and just doing the best you can do, it's only going to help you down the road. And there's no more proof of it than him, who just signed a 4-year, $70 million deal. So there are places in this league for Nerlens Noel and Jahlil Okafor, and they can be quite lucrative if they just embrace them as soon as they can.
Bob Cooney, Philadelphia Daily News, with us here. Sixers tomorrow night right here on 97.3 ESPN. They take on the Clippers, who have their own injury problems as well. And it's funny, when you play Toronto, that's a loss. When you play Portland, typically, that's a loss. When you watch those two teams, do you see some advancement in terms of where this team was in nights against teams like that? They just seem so overmatched and undermanned against those type of teams. And the fact that they have been able to beat some of these teams that you were constantly, Charlotte, Milwaukee, I guess it kind of speaks to the fact that mentally they have changed as well. Maybe they're not on par talent-wise, all 12, but it seems that they've also taken a big mental step.
I think so too, Mike. You're exactly right, and I really think that there are so many things in sports that are contagious, and I think losing close games at the end was something that the team kind of got used to, and it kind of got contagious where they were playing maybe not to win at the end of games, and ultimately it cost them many times. It's also talent. Other teams came in, played through maybe 2.5, 3 quarters, and then when they wanted to, they could turn it up a notch and just wind up beating the Sixers. The difference now, obviously, is Joel Embiid. You have a legitimate go-to player. You have a guy that you just feel is going to keep you in games all the time, and that's given the other guys confidence, and they really believe that they can win games late, and they've done it, and they've done it in a variety of ways. Whether it be buzzer beaters, whether it be comfortable wins, whether it be close wins, high-scoring games, low-scoring games. They've done it in a bunch of different ways, and I think it's really more than the winning, and you have to listen to what I'm saying here, more than just the winning. Learning how to win, I think, is important to these young players. Learning what needs to be done at the end of games to make the outcome a W is really important to these players. So it's a big step forward for all of them, for Brett Brown, and it's just something that they've really picked up on of late, and most of it goes directly to Joel Embiid in the middle.
It's amazing how much he impacts his team, because when he doesn't play, Bob, there's a significant drop-off, right? I mean, you would think, though, because he only plays half the game, that they would be used to him not being there, but I guess he makes that big of an impact that even the games when he's not there entirely, they really struggle.
Yeah, well, 7 minutes a quarter is, 28 minutes is still a pretty good chunk. It's probably about 8 minutes below what Brett Brown, when Joel Embiid is fully healthy, what Brett Brown will play him. He has said that 36 minutes is his ideal goal. But yeah, it goes right to the defense, Mike. When he's not in there, it's just really hard for them to stop anybody defensively. A lot of that falls on Jahlil Okafor. Like I said, and then perimeter defenders for the Sixers have to be, really weary of going out and jumping out at three-point shooters, because if they get beat off the dribble, it's basically a layup line when Jahlil Okafor is back there. So they're cautious about going out on three-point shooters, which means more open three-point shots. And you can go to so many analytical numbers, but if you just look at how many points a team scores a game when Embiid isn't in there, you see that that's the biggest difference.
Bob, any update on Ben Simmons? I thought I heard the other night that he was set for a final scan today when I was listening to Sixers GM Brian Colangelo during the broadcast. And then there was another report that said he was going to come back after the All-Star break. What are you hearing about Ben Simmons?
Yeah, we didn't get an update on his health today because practice was a little bit early. So his appointment might have been later on this afternoon or something like that. So they had no update for us on him as of yet. Yeah, the rumors fly about when he could come back. The team still hasn't given anything specific. I heard last week somebody came out because they flexed the Sixers game to ESPN on Friday. Everybody was speculating that was when Ben Simmons was going to return. I knew he wasn't. He hasn't played 5-on-5 yet, according to the team. We asked Brett Brown that point blank the other day. So he's continuing to work out and try to get it into basketball shape. We'll find out tomorrow exactly what today's results were, and then they'll move forward from there. After the All-Star break is an obvious one where you could give them time to work up until then, and then maybe a few days of good hard practices before making a comeback. But going back to that playoff push that Mike was talking about earlier. People say, once they get Simmons back, they can really make that push. Don't forget that this is a team that's going to be very cautious with injuries. So when he comes back, he'll probably be on a time restriction for a few weeks. He probably won't play back-to-back. They're going to go very, very slowly and cautiously when Ben Simmons, when he comes back.
Bob, you mentioned the playoff push and all that, the talk that Joel has and some goals. Has your timeline changed at all of where you think this team could be a year from now?
Yeah, I think this summer is huge. Being is how much Joel Embiid and how good he is so quickly, I should say. Sure, I think everybody's timeline changes a little bit. I didn't envision him playing this well probably ever this season, and he's done it right out of the gate. This guy is really good right now, and he's only going to get a lot better. I still see a lot of rust on the guy. There's so many things that I think will come naturally that just aren't right now, simply because he hasn't played for 2.5 years. So now you envision how good is he going to be next year and the year after, and now they're going to have a pretty good draft this year, most likely, maybe 2 picks in the lottery. So once you add those 2 guys in, once you look at the improvement of guys that are going to be role players, ideally, I think once you fill out this roster the way you want, Robert Covington is probably a second-team guy. Darius Saric might still be a second-team guy. I think the addition of Ersan Ilyasova before, if you don't re-sign him, at least he's given you the perfect model of what you want to play up front with Joel Embiid. So there's a lot of other things besides Embiid that have improved. That going forward, you look at holes may have been filled or very close to being filled. So yeah, I think your timeline does move up a little bit.
Think this recent play has changed the mindset of the front office at all?
The recent play of, I'm sorry, Mike.
The fact that they've been winning games, that they've been not only winning but competitive throughout most of the year, but they've been winning games recently. Do you think that's changed the mindset of the front office at the trade deadline or even moving forward?
I don't think they're going to do anything for this year. Certainly, I don't think they're making a trade at the deadline saying, "Oh, you know what? We're only 5.5 games out from the playoffs." I don't. I still think this is a year where they look to build players. They look to get players for the future better. They experiment with who they have, like a Timothy Luau-Cabarro. I think he's going to get some more time, down the stretch, and that's a guy that they're really going to look at. I think still that is the main goal of this year: to experiment, to grow, to see what they have. And then when the season's over, now your situations are, like I said, do you re-sign Ersan Ilyasova or do you go hard after a younger model of just like him? Because that's obviously what Joel Embiid needs next to him. How much does Timmy Luau-Cabarro, how much does he maybe fit in? What about a TJ McConnell? Is he a decent enough backup guard, moving forward? Who do you pair with Ben Simmons? So all those questions, I think, are what they're looking to answer this year, not so much a playoff push or anything like that.
Bob Cooney from the Philadelphia Daily News here. The Sixers with back-to-backs tomorrow and Wednesday, then again on Friday night against the Houston Rockets. See if they can continue. They're getting noticed, though. As you mentioned, they're on national television again. I see the ESPN.com power rankings. Bob had them ranked 15th. So the top half of the league all of a sudden, that people they're taking notice that this team has made strides. There's no question.
Hell, I've even heard of losers that go on vacation and sit around the phone and watch them on Friday night. So
don't forget Wednesday night too. Wednesday night too.
Bob, I know you invested well for your years at the Daily News. So you got $3.1 million to buy Sam's house.
$3.1 million to buy who?
Sam Hinkie's house is on the market.
I didn't see that.
He bought it for $2.6 million. He's even going to make a profit most likely on that. Talk about turning the asset.
I even heard he's getting a second-round pick in return.
When you're that smart, you're not losing money. No matter where it is, you're not losing money. So whether it be the house or anything else, Sam Hinkie's going to be okay for life. But yeah, Mike, if you want to go in on it with your friends from the Dominican, maybe we go over there and watch some games.
And they could build a shrine to Hinkie.
Gosh.
Yeah,
unreal.
Absolutely.
All right, Bob Cooney for the Daily News. Sixers tomorrow and Wednesday. Thanks, Bobby.